All right, back to this corner here. What I got is I just took a scrap piece I had put in here for right now so then I can use it for measuring. Okay, the piece that I'm gonna have be back here, I have taken out. I trimmed it on my table saw, trimmed off the edge. Sorry, let's get that to focus better. Trimmed off my edge, so now I got a nice flat edge on it. Okay, now, instead of wasting a piece and cutting it and trying it and trying and trying it, I took a piece of scrap cardboard. Okay, and what I did with that is I just cut an L into it. Doesn't matter how long this L is, that doesn't matter because I'm not, sorry about that, not using this as per se a template, but I am, if that makes any sense. So what I did is I know my piece I got trimmed, when I shove it up in there, it's gonna be up against that wall. So, I'm like, okay, it's up against the wall now, and it fits under there. So then, I got that. Okay, so this is my depth here. My piece from here to here, I went through and I marked. I put a dot on my board. So I said, okay, so it's gonna be that length. So then I took my template and laid it over top of it on where about where I need it to be. So then what I can do is I can go through and cut that little L out, and then I'll take this floor piece back out, and I'll put my piece that I'm going to be using in there. Then I'm hoping what I can do is I can get it started enough that I can take that piece, take this puller, and tap it and pop it that way. Okay. Then I got a lock here for that. So then what I can do is this template should be good for this side. Okay, so well, it's gonna be off. It looks like it's off a little bit. So I'm gonna have to trim my template a little bit more for when I do this other piece. So I'm gonna put this there, and then I'm hoping I could take my next piece, put it in there, and tap it that way, and get it to lock here on there. Okay, before you cut anything, measure your gap there, okay, from that. So it's gonna be, it needs to be at least 2 inches to be under the sill plate. So it's definitely gonna be under that sill plate. So just how they had the trim when I trimmed it, that's what length it is. So I can actually cut a little bit maybe more off on this side. So that way I can have a little bit more area to slide it back up in there. So we'll see. I'm gonna go cut it, and I'm gonna come back and get it in there, and hopefully I'll be able to get it all locked in here, and then I can do the other piece. All right, so here's what my piece looks like. I first did that L cut like I was saying before, and I slid it up in there, and it didn't fit because it was bottoming out on this, because I didn't trim all this back piece. So what I did is I trimmed this piece. I marked where it slid underneath here, because there's a little bit of a difference. And then I trimmed it. So it's in a closet, it should be fine. So hopefully this will work. We'll go from there. All right, so I went through, I cut the pieces, and I popped them all in. So this piece here actually takes a full piece, so I didn't even have to trim the edge of it. Like this one, I had to trim the edge of it. But what happened when I was popping this one is I chipped it in a couple of spots. But it's not that big of a deal because I'm going to put quarter round on it to hold it down in the corner, and it's in the closet. But you can see how trimming that and running it underneath there actually works pretty good. And when I trim this one, I trim this piece. So that way when I tapped it in, I can go tap it in that way. And then I can just take my piece of quarter round and run it right to the edge there and cut it flat and stop. So, I just got to finish the rest of that going that way. But that's how that came out. So, it worked pretty good because I used my paper template here as my trim piece. And of course what I did there is I just used the other end of my other side of my template, from doing this one. But what's interesting is this wall here is actually out further than that wall. So, but it works out pretty good. So, do the rest of it and I'll be done. Oh. got all the Pergo laid down. It's all pretty much done. It was a pain. I had to cut for the vent. And then when I was making my little filler piece, because the wall's not flat, I actually ended up chipping the Pergo, so I had to recut this piece for around the vent. But it's all done now. So I'm just picking up. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hang the closet doors back up and mount them. So it came out pretty good around the doors, so I was able to actually tap this piece up under there. So that way when I run the cord around, I can run it going this way and just have a flat cut right up against that. So, but it's all done. It's all down. So